Good morning and welcome to Daybreak Live this Friday morning. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakun.
And I'm Anulu Akpoido. Thank you for joining us this beautiful Friday morning.
Exactly. For this morning, our former Vice President Atiku Abubakar says he will restore fuel subsidy if elected president in 2027.
Now, the promise has renewed rebate over fuel subsidy, the cost of living, and Nigeria's economic situation and the future for the country, Nigeria. And of course, that exactly is our Daybreak gist this morning.
Right, and coming up next are today's newspaper headlines with analyst Olukunle Durodolu. We intend to talk about the major headlines across the newspaper outlet this morning.
And later we'll bring you the trend watch, checking and stories that are featured across the political waves and every other spectrum in the country, even on social media as well. We'll track the stories for you this morning.
Exactly. Thank you for joining us this morning. Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning to you, Oluwayemi. It's such a beautiful Friday.
Right.
Many persons are happy because, oh yeah, whenever it's Friday, TGIF, you know what they say. It's the weekend, but anyway. So the conversation of the day is about former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who said he will now restore fuel subsidy if elected president in 2027. I'm saying that because he said he will now, meaning that he once said, so there are different ways to look at this particular issue, but just to get us into a brief of what happened and what he said, he came out just recently in an interview to speak to this issue, and then he went on to ask questions. His question was based on not seeing the delivered result of or the expected benefits to Nigerians, especially when it comes to the fuel subsidy removal. But if you also track this story, you see that there was a time he once mentioned that he was also going to remove it anyway. But anyway, just a brief into the story is that former Vice President and African Democratic Congress ADC presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar has rekindled fresh conversations on petrol subsidy following his pledge to restore it if re-elected president in the 2027 general elections, reversing his earlier position that he did not oppose the removal of the subsidy. But I think this is a major thing, especially coming now. So many angles to this particular story, but I'll just share what I think from my own perspective. When I saw this message, the first thing that comes to mind, or that came to mind when I thought about this initially, was a proclamation that was published on the cable newspaper sometimes in November 15, 2022, and that was when he said he was also going to remove it. There are other claims where he said maybe he would not remove it totally, maybe he would let it go one by one, little by little, and all of that. But the conversation has always been that. But my own point of emphasis this morning is that there's something that the politicians know, the elite, there's something that they know that the average Nigerian does not know. I'm saying there's a playbook. In fact, what I call it is an esoteric playbook that is not privy to many Nigerians. And how do I mean? When this kind of statements are made, there are many ways to look at it, but one of the vital ways you find truth in this kind of comment is maybe to check, one, what is the intention, and two, what's the motivation. So for me, I think it's clear that the motivation is tell Nigerians what they want to hear. It's an emotional appeal, because an average person who probably thinks is suffering as well, who is probably suffering at the moment, would want to say, oh yeah, that's a good thought. This thing must be restored. So when it's restored, we'll get our money, everybody will get to feed fat and all of that. That is on the one hand. But the other side is to look at the intention behind this. The intention is to become president for him. Well, and he also mentioned that it's going to be his last stint at presidency. And so it's a claim to say, okay, what's the motivation? Emotional appeal, tell people what they would like to hear. And what's the intention? Vote me in 2027. So the conversation is quite clear for an average person to understand. But it just seems that even if it was Atiku that was the president, I think the other party of Tinubu would have also said the same, because they are trying to appeal to many Nigerians and not even looking at, because the president responded and then he was saying that he has seen what Atiku said and that he feels like he doesn't have an understanding of how governance and the economy runs, and so that's a claim also by them, because one of the claims they are also making, the government has said the combined reforms involving petrol subsidy and naira liberalization has generated 15.8 trillion naira in savings for the federation between June 2023 and December 2025. So that's the claim. But Atiku's claim is this: the decision has not delivered the expected benefit to ordinary Nigerians, and he's arguing that the cost of living continues to rise while public services have not improved significantly to justify the hardship associated with the policy. So Atiku's question is, where is the money? Which is a valid one, if you ask me, to say, yes, you said you got in about 15.8 trillion naira ever since. So where is the money going? Because we've not seen an appreciable growth or difference in the life or the livelihoods of the people that are supposed to enjoy the benefit of this. So Atiku's question is valid, except that what is his drive? What is his motivation? And for some people, I think I saw many comments and I saw some people jumping at it to say that's exactly the way to go. But others will also beg to differ on that, to say, what do you make of something that we have started? We are neck deep into something and then you want to take it away. Does it not speak to one of the problems we've had in the country where there's no sustained policy by administrations? You see, one administration will come and bring out the policy and the other one will come and, just forget it, just dismiss that particular policy, and then they go on to build a new one. And so eventually it becomes a mess for the country where we don't have stable policies, when any change in government will mean change in policy, change in drive and some of the things we are doing. But I think at the end of the day, there's a playbook that is only privy to the elite, that's only privy to the political class, that is not privy to many Nigerians. But I think it's time to wake up. Instead of just jumping on whatever they say, jumping on their comments and maybe pulling your weight behind him or not supporting him. I think one way to look at it is to look at what is the better good for the Nigerian people. How can this make the country better? If he claims, okay, when I get into power, I will take away fuel subsidy. How do we intend to also get money to run the government? And so maybe that's also a claim. But some people still think that Atiku has said the right thing. While I don't believe that's the best way to go for us right now, I also think that this administration that is currently in power should be able to tell us how they are using the money. They have done that a lot of times, but we want appreciable evidence. We want evidence, not just talks. We want people to say yes, or at least you have like a caption or a quota of people who would say, I've benefited from this and this is where I am now. This is what my life has become ever since this particular thing happened. And so I think that's the way to go. The question is valid. Where is the money? This administration should answer the question, but this should not be a major decider for anybody who wants to vote 2027 to say, because Atiku said he's going to remove it, we are going to now support Atiku. Many other countries that are doing well, thinking about development and AI and innovation and how to become a world power. They're talking about resources and some elements that would make them become world power. And we're talking nuclear weapons and all that. I'm not saying nuclear weapon is the right way, but I'm saying that what can we give also? What can we put right on the table of discourse at the international market that can make Nigeria a sought out for? Instead of all these conversations of fuel subsidy, are there not many things? Are we desolate? Are we destitute of ideas? Are we destitute of innovations? There are many things we can come up as a campaign promise, instead of all of these things that we keep. Everybody's just saying, okay, you did this, I'm not doing that. What can we do better? What has Nigeria not done in the last 50 years that we can now start doing to get a blueprint for the country? And I think that's my own take this morning.
Exactly, and I think you're very spot on, because when I saw the news yesterday, I just think Nigerians want more than the promises of, oh, when I come, I'm going to remove the fee subsidy. They want more, because one more thing that we should look out for now that candidates are allowed to campaign is the fact that when you check their manifestos, very soon now they will start releasing their manifestos, and you discover that they are repeating certain things they said they would do in 2023, in 2019, in 2015. So it means we are not progressing. So there are certain things we should not even talk about anymore in 2026, and that's why we are not doing it well. And I have a problem with the opposition parties, and the politicians themselves, because I think they're not doing it well, the way they're supposed to do it. Kemi Bignor today is very popular globally, not because of a name or any other thing, but because she's always criticizing the government, and she will not only criticize, she will provide the best way to handle the matter. But for our politicians in Nigeria, they criticize the government, but then when you ask them, what are you going to do differently if you are in this position? And then some of them begin to stutter. And so it doesn't really make any sense to me. However, the issue of subsidy removal, we should talk about it. 15.8 trillion naira is a lot of money. And I remember a few weeks back when people were asking questions, Taiwo Yedele said, don't worry, we are going to release the breakdown of how much we've been able to make over the years. I think from 2023 when the president came on board till last year December. That's a lot of money, but what are we doing with it? So beyond the promises, it's a good one coming from him. Whether some people will vote for him based on that, I really cannot tell. But Nigerians need more, and it's not about promising us. I think a few days ago we discussed promises by these politicians, and we were saying that some of them will promise a lot of things and they are not able to fulfill it. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, when he was contesting, said you will make sure that people will enjoy electricity. Do you know the issues that people have been able to experience in the last few years because of electricity? And that there are other things he said he would do, like ASU strike is gone. He's been able to live up to that, but then it's dangling in a way because some schools, some states are saying we are going on a strike if we don't reach an agreement. So if care is not taken, even that promise, I don't know, it might falter in a way if it doesn't do the right thing. So beyond, I'm going to remove the first subsidy. Even if you remove it, how sure are we that the same thing will not repeat itself, that Nigerians will still not experience the same thing? Because now, before, petrol around that time was not even up to 500, but immediately the president came in, he jumped, and then everything changed. Some businesses had to pause because of that, because they cannot really cope. So beyond the promises, Nigerians want more. And one more thing about Atiku Abubakar, he also said something that I read, and that he said, this is my last race as a presidential candidate. And I think Nigerians are clapping him for that, because at some point, you should be able to tell that, okay, I have fought a good fight, right? Like Abu always say, and then I'm stopping at this point, because this man, I've been able to contest for about 6 times. If you add, the presidential primaries, to the real contest, he's contested for about 6 times. And then, so if this is the last time for him, I think that's okay, whether he wins or not. So beyond that, apart from him now, let me also talk about Peter Obi. Peter Obi said President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should not have removed the subsidy. And then in that same interview, on that same table, he was asked, okay, if at all you don't want to remove the first subsidy, what are you going to do about this? And then so I tried to listen to him, and then even beyond him, some other politicians, even the likes of Dele Momodu, the likes of Dino Melaye, they all have these ideas, but then how are you going to achieve it? Are we sure you're going to do better when you come there? Because, I mean, it is easy. And that's one thing I say. Be careful when you criticize people. Because at the end of the day, let's make sure that you not do worse than that person. So when these people, when Obi said, oh, you should not have removed the first subsidy, this and that, when you get there, can you do better? What other plans do you have for Nigerians? Beyond comparing Nigeria to all those other countries, these foreign countries, opposition parties, I don't know what they are doing recently. And one more thing is, for Atiku Abubakar, who wants to rule Nigeria, who wants to rule this country, how come it's been so difficult for him to placate all other political parties that fall under opposition? How come it's been difficult for him to, put them together? They are scattered abroad. Look at, NDC, they have their own candidate. Look at Accord, they all have their presidential candidates. I even read it this morning that the PDP is said to actually, establish a campaign, machinery for the former president, Goodluck Jonathan. They are all scattered abroad. And that's one thing, that's one quality people keep talking about when it comes to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In 2015, the main reason why Muhammadu Buhari won that election is because President Bola Ahmed Tinubu found a way to bring all these people together. The CPC of Buhari, his own political party, and other small parties, and they came together. And he did not just do that, he was smart enough to go and bring Osibado from a very popular church with great population. He brought them together, and then even Buhari himself came out to tell us that he's coming for the talakawas, the poor ones, to make sure that they will live better, they will live a better life. But all of this is, I'm just talking about the smartness of these people. So I think the likes of Atiku, the likes of Obi should learn, basically. See, if you don't have it, you don't have it. Nobody will beat you. And there's a room to learn. Learn politics. See how they are doing it. So how come it's difficult for him to bring all these people together as opposition party? How come you are having them scattered abroad? And beyond that, if you check this political party individually, they are all going through one problem or the other. Internal issues, internal wranglings. They cannot even come together. So I think they can do better, really. Beyond, I'm going to remove first subsidy. Okay, a lot of persons will find that, I'm using, okay, fine, wants to do that. But then, what else are you going to do? How are you going to achieve it? Can you assure us that you will do better than this current administration?
I think I'm going to probably just add up to what you said briefly. But there's a statement I used to make, and I'll still make it again today, that it is not the strongest of animals that survive, but the one that is most responsive to change. And I mean that thousands of years ago, some animals like dinosaurs existed. but they are no more. And it wasn't because they were not strong. It wasn't because they were not fast. It wasn't because they were not one of the biggest animals. It was basically because they could not adapt to the changing situations and the changing times and the climate across their region. And so that's exactly the case for Nigeria. Every country that is serious now is talking about technology. There's no pushing back on that topic. Why don't we have this kind of conversations on the front burner? Why should we have a conversation that has been in existence from the time we started, from the oil boom era? Why should we have the conversation of oil and oil? Why can't we move on? We talked about diversification of the economy. Everybody's still backing down, doubling down on the oil. I mean, when do we want to think about innovation, like technological innovation, advancement, AI? Many countries like China are now a country to reckon with because they are investing millions and millions and billions of dollars in that particular industry. Where is Nigeria in this? Who says Nigeria cannot be a supplier for the rest of the Africa, 54 countries of the African nation or continent? I mean, so it's such a, I feel so bad with the way we treat politics, and they have reduced us to this level. That's why they can boldly say these kind of things, and they feel like they should vote for me because I've said this. You are saying this is 2026. I'm looking at different, I don't want to go into the detail. I'm seeing nations that are serious with what they want to become are not talking about internal things. They're talking about global things, how to become someone to look out for. If you need, for example, a particular microchip or something, you should go to some countries. What is Nigeria known for? What is the identity of this country? I said it last time, but that if I went out to the street of Nigerian roads and maybe just Lagos or Ibadan and sample 10 opinions, call 10 youth, ask them what is the mission for Nigeria in the next 10 years. Not, I can assure you that I will get 10 different opinions. And why? Because there's no uniform understanding of where we are going as a nation. What's the mission statement? Even our politicians don't have it. How do you expect an average Nigerian to have it? So I think these are one of the problems we keep having, talking about. I don't like it when we see this kind of conversations again and again. Can we talk about something better, something more? Nigeria used to be a giant. Nigeria can still become that giant in Africa. Many other countries are doing well, and I think it's high time we stop thinking about these things and move on to bigger things that can help the country move forward.
Exactly, and just to conclude on this one, I think one more thing we should look at is the fact that Nigeria has been referred to as a third world country for decades. So I don't know at what point are we going to leave that space, that level. That's why we need to do better, because they've been referring to Nigeria as a third world country from the 80s, the 90s, and we are still here. That's why we need more from the politicians. Beyond remove first subsidy. Nigeria will become UK or become America. They are good. Those are kind of promises are good, but we need solutions. We need them to be more active than this. And I think it's a fine place to leave that discussion this morning. We take a short break, and when we come back, we move on to headlines and analysis. We'll be right back.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Thank you for staying with us this morning. This is Newspaper Headlines and Analysis. I'm Oluwayemi Adelako. I'll be doing this alone. I have with me analyst Olukunle Durudolu. Good morning and welcome.
Yeah, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Right, trust you're not cold.
No, not at all.
All right, great. Let's start with Vanguard newspaper and, of course, the banner headline with the kicker that says Christians killings. Why U.S. won't remove Nigeria's CPC tag. That's the country of particular concern, and that's coming from Congressman Moore. And then the writers are saying, says Nigerian government must protect Christian communities. We back U.S. over persecution, security crisis. That's coming from the Christian elders. Call for thorough investigation, prosecution of perpetrators. So let me start this way. Do you even believe the statement in the first place that Christians are being killed, persecuted, things like that?
Well, it's completely fabrications by U.S. to achieve an agenda.
But they have their reports.
Yes, they have their reports, but the reports are not true. We all know the reports are not completely hogwash. It's not true. I live in Nigeria. Most of the killings that is taking place in Nigeria as at now take place in Middle Belt and northern part of Nigeria, where they are predominantly Muslims. So if killings took place there, more Muslims will be affected than Christians. I'm a Christian. I should not lie about that. It is what anybody can verify. These killings were randomly orchestrated. It's not a thing that is designed to tackle Christians alone.
Okay, some have argued that, certain persons have been hostile, to Christians in some part of the nation. Like you heard about the Deborah case, and then beyond that, we've seen other cases where people were being killed, for saying, oh, I won't support this religion, this and that.
These are isolated cases. They are not pronounced issues that we should now tag Christian killings. It's not a regular thing that we see. We have banditry, we have kidnappings that people do for money. We also have farmers, herders clashes. We have reprisal attacks that normally take place in Benue, in Plateau states. These are not Christians targeted incidents. They were just incidents that happen, and when they happen between two communities in a place that is dominated by Christians, there is every likelihood that more Christians will be affected.
Okay, so
these are not what happened. We cannot liken that to what happened in the northeast. We cannot liken that to what happened in the northwest of Katsina or Kano or Sokoto or Jigawa or those states. It's not targeted at Christians. They are killings that were specifically designed to achieve a cynical motives.
All right. What about, cases where some Nigerians are being killed in the church? And then I think I have a right here that says, Christian elders are saying we back the U.S. over prosecution, security crisis. So if the Christian elders are saying this is true, how then should we even expect the United States to believe that if these particular people are saying it is true?
It's not all Christians that are saying these things. Some Christian elders.
Do they not represent,
They don't,
Christians?
of course they can. They don't speak for me. And they don't speak for all the Christians in Nigeria. We've seen some aspect of Christians that come out to debunk what they are saying. So they are not speaking for all Christians. They have their own motives that they want to achieve.
Okay.
But we all know they are not speaking the truth.
Should we just accept this tag and then move on with our lives?
No,
Country
see,
of particular concern.
there are some killings that took place in the church. We also have killings that took place in the mosque. Mosques have been bombed. Likewise, when churches are attacked too. So if we cannot tag Muslim killings when it happened in the mosque, we should also not target Christian killings when it happens in the church. There are things that happen indiscriminately.
All right, let's talk about another headline that says a few subsidy at Tinubu Atiku battle. And according to the presidency, they are saying Atiku is just desperate to become president. That's why he's saying, when I come, I'm going to remove the few subsidy and this and that. The presidency is saying, no, we did the right thing by removing the subsidy. And they've been able to release the amounts they've been able to gather in the last few years. That's about 15.8 trillion. Do you think Atiku is desperate for saying, when I come, I'll remove the
Why
few
did
subsidy?
Atiku say in 2022 that he will remove subsidy, that it is a fraud? Now he's changing his narrative again, and the dynamics in the oil industry has not changed. Everybody knows that removing subsidy is the call in the right direction. The allocation states, local government now share is buoyant. This is the first time you will not see states or federal government or local governments owing pensioners or owing civil servants. This is the first time that will be happening in the last 3.5 years in this country.
But then we got the reports that Edo State climbed up, speaking about states who are owing so much. Did you see that report, that headline? So what happened? Edo is even an APC state. So what happened to the funds?
Before they may take loan for reasons best known to them. It depends on their developmental goals that they want to achieve. If they take loans, number one, in the first place, before they will get a loan, they must have checked through their records to know that they have the ability to pay back. It's not taking loan is not really a problem. Once you have the ability to pay back, what you do with the loan is what matter to me. It's not if the loan is judicially spent. There is nobody disturb their head about that.
From your observation with Edo.
There was this criminal headline I saw yesterday about US owing $41 trillion, and that's the first time their debt will be climbing to that stage. And you hardly see any Americans bother their head about that. What concerns them is our country able to solve our problems?
So the same America is giving aid to countries, even Nigeria, except for recently where Trump said he might cut the aid is given to Nigeria because of this Christian
they give aid to many countries to get their supports. They are not giving those aids for just dashing it out. They are giving the aids to get support of those countries and to gain their loyalty.
So, do you really think we should go back to fuel subsidy, or we should leave it like this? Let's even assume that
it is not sustainable. Every intelligent mind knows that it is not sustainable. It's only people who want to deceive themselves that keeps on deceiving themselves.
Has it helped Nigerians in any way?
It has helped.
How?
States now get money. They are not owing.
But the president is still saying, hold your governors accountable because people are complaining.
Because they get more money now. Number one, our political atmosphere is charged. So people begins to push out these lies to deceive people.
You think people are lying that they are suffering?
this is not the first time that Nigerians are suffering. We've been hearing this song of Ilule Kosowolode since 40 years ago.
Is
it's
the
not a
situation
new
not
slogan.
intense? Is it not intense now?
I don't see any. Okay, for example, when President Tinubu took over, 27 states could not pay salaries. Today, all states are paying salaries. Which one should be more intense? Pensioners were owed during that time. Today, nobody is owed
What
money.
about inflation? Because I think
Inflation
economists
was
will tell you that when you have
inflation-
more money in the system,
Yes.
if it's not managed properly, it will lead
Wait,
to inflation.
inflation was 24% when President Tinubu took over. The same inflation today is less than 16%.
Is that
So it is coming down.
is that figure, is it accurate?
When we believe that it was 24%, when the same agency released it, we cannot now begin to cherry pick and say, no, the inflation is no longer accurate when it comes down. We cannot cherry pick. We have to agree. It is the same NBC that monitor these inflations due to certain indices they use in measuring it. When they agreed it was 24%, we did not, people agree with them.
Okay.
People that want to make politics out of it agree. Now that it has reduced to 15.26%, we now begin to disagree. That's not, is not acceptable. We cannot
But
cherry
Nigerians
pick.
can question the figures, can't they?
They can't.
Really?
Because it's the same
We have learned people.
It is the same government agencies that monitors it, and there are indices they use in monitoring it. So when they released that inflation was 24%, you cannot agree with them at that time. And when they now say the inflation is coming down due to the same indices they used.
During COVID period, you said the government released some numbers of people who died, people who are sick, and then at the end of the day, residents of certain states came out to say, these figures are wrong. So do you think there's a trust issue between the people and the government? And COVID issue is not even the first time. There are several times that the Nigerians did not even agree with the figures released by the federal government.
Nigerians may not agree because they don't have the parameters to judge. It is governments that have parameters to judge. And if anybody is going to agree with any Nigerian institution at all, it is one Nigerian government released to them that they will try and investigate, interrogate, not what some Nigerians are just cooking up. It's not every beer parlor stories that we give credence to. Some of them are just fashioned out of emotions.
This is a beer parlor story.
Yes, when we don't have any legitimate parameters to bring out our evidence.
All right,
Datas don't lie.
But we have issue of data in this country. Do you even agree with that? And that's one of the problems of insecurity in this country, lack of data.
We have issue of data everywhere in the world. Depends on which one we want to agree with.
Can't we be different? Must we always compare our issues to other countries who are having issues? Can't we stand out?
Team and institutions is not perfect. That's just the way it is. The way you see things may be different from the way I see things. And even though if I have evidence to support what I am saying, what people will want to believe, what intelligent mind will want to interrogate is what is fact-based. It's not what people just come out and begin to say. We need to interrogate whatever anybody says. If those things were not, like the issue of people are suffering, that people were screaming, you cannot agree that when 27 states were owing salaries, that the suffering is lesser than when every state are now paying salaries.
Okay,
Even as at the time they were owing
on
salaries, the minimum wage was 30,000 naira. Today, the minimum wage, the least states now pay about 70,000 and
30,000 of that time. Can you compare it to 77,000 that people are collecting now?
It is relative.
The value.
It is relative.
Do you know how much people were buying cement in 2010 compared to now?
Well, people are still buying cement.
Even tomatoes.
Yes.
Down to things like that. Prices have gone up.
Yes, they will go up because the impact of fuel subsidy removal will have impact on the pockets, on the what an average man will spend.
Okay, final question on Atiku now. Atiku said, this is my last time of coming out to contest, for presidency. Do you believe him?
Atiku is an inconsistent man. He has been contesting since 1993. So if he tells us this is the last time, that's still according to him. After 2031, we will still wait to hear from him again, because he's somebody who has never been consistent.
Really? Is it with his political parties or his speech, or what do you mean by is not
Everything
consistent?
about him is not consistent. If he is, it is where Atiku is today that determine his state of mind. If he's in APC, we say, PDP is dead. If he's in PDP, we say, no, APC.
But other politicians are
useless.
also like that.
Most
of them.
politicians.
I remember Peter Obi one time said, I will never leave ABGA.
Yes.
But he left.
He has left ABGA, he has left PDP, he has left Labour, he has left ADC, he's now in NDC.
Even members of APC today, I'll give you examples. Daniel Boala said a lot about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Yes.
Reno Omokri, but now they are dancing in that same party.
It's because many people don't have ideology and principles. So you see them say something today, tomorrow they go against what they say. That speaks to the personality involved. Some people don't have integrity and they don't care. They can say A today and tomorrow they change it to B. If at all you may have a change of stand, there should be a logical reason why. It's not that you just say something today, tomorrow you say something else.
All right, let's cross to Daily Independent, a newspaper, and check this particular headline that says PDP launches Goodluck Jonathan's presidential campaign. What is going on? Do you think Jonathan really wants to contest, or later is going to come out and endorse another candidate? Because 70% of Nigerians
until Jonathan himself come out and tell us that he wants to contest.
But they're about to set up, a presidential campaign.
In 2023, in 2022, some people also said he will contest for primary, and they bought form 100 million for him in APC.
But he has a mind of his own to determine.
And that's the reason why we should wait for him to speak. Nobody can speak for anybody when it comes to issue of presidency. Some people bought form. They say, Jonathan is coming. And until he never came. They have started another jamboree again, Goose White Chase, telling people what they know is not correct, just to create sensations.
Do you think the opposition stands a chance this coming election, especially if they decide to come together?
We have to look at it logically. The just concluded Osun elections has proved that there is power in the hands of governors. And somebody who is controlling over 30 governors and somebody who doesn't have any governor at all doesn't stand a chance. But
I remember the second time Jonathan decided to contest, he had close to 28 governors or so, and he lost.
No. Out of the 28, 5 backed out.
But still, 23 is a good number against, how many? Against 36.
As at that time, the dynamics did not favor him.
What dynamics?
The moment a strong northern presidential candidate and a strong southern candidate can merge, you don't have the odds already against anybody contesting against such a person.
What about the power of incumbency?
President Tinubu has the power of incumbents. He has a significant number of governors. He has all the governors in Northwest, all the governors in Northeast supporting him, most of the governors in North Central supporting him. And he has the Southwest governors showing their support for him. So what are we talking about when we look at those numbers?
But the power belongs to the people. You saw what happened in Osun State.
The power belongs to the people. These people were controlled by certain structures.
But that's state level. What about federal level? Because I remember that Adeleke even came out to say, I'm reaffirming my endorsement, to President Tinubu. But what if the people of Osun State decide to vote for another person? He cannot force them, can he?
Yes, the people of Osun knows. They trust their leaders. That's why they vote Adeleke. Now somebody said he's going to bring back subsidy. Reasonable governors know the implication of that. Once you bring up subsidy, it means they will not have money again to run their states. They will not begin to owe salaries. Do they want that kind of a person to come back?
How sure are you that that will happen if we decide to go back to subsidy?
He's telling us what he wants to do in advance. Everybody is making their promise now.
What if Tinubu wins this election and goes back to subsidy?
Tinubu has said he's not going back to subsidy, and doesn't really make any sense. Even the presidential report that they released yesterday, they castigate Atiku for going back on his words. So there is nothing that suggests that President Tinubu will return subsidy. Because where will the money to run the government comes from? We must.
Are we not generating any money at all? IDR, no money, nothing.
Subsidy during the time we've been borrowing money to pay subsidies. When we no longer have when we can no longer even borrow money again, get money again to pay subsidy, we have to use our oil we have to sell our oil in advance. We collect money in advance for oil we've not generated just to fund subsidy. So
But
if we
what
now,
happened to Nigeria? In the 70s, Nigeria was borrowing World Bank money.
yes, our population was no longer was continue accumulating.
Is population supposed to be a curse or a blessing?
Yes.
Because I've looked at Malthusian theory and other theories, and they say that if you can manage look at China. Can we begin to compare ourselves with China?
China at certain stage have to regulate their population and limit the number of children people give birth to. Because if they don't, their population will get to a point that they will not be able to, their economy will no longer be able to sustain
But their population is still high compared to Nigeria.
It is high, but then they have to limit the population until their economy is buoyant enough. Otherwise, if they continue like that, everything will collapse. Population cannot continue to outgrow the economy. In all these countries that we want to refer to, 90% of them pay taxes. In Nigeria, just about 20% pay taxes in Nigeria. So how do we now expect a country?
Even with the new system in town that started in January.
We've not seen the latest evaluation. But then the last time I checked.
Are we sure that the old system, or let me say the committee, they are not confused about this tax system? Because I remember how they were moving from one TV station to another. Trying to answer questions.
I interrogate figures. I deal with data. When President Tinubu took over, Nigeria was, our tax was around, if I can remember, should be around 28 trillion. Today, it has gone about times 3, times 4. Nigerian Stock Exchange was about 30 trillion in value when President Tinubu took over. Today, it has gone to 160 trillion. So, do we now look at those figures and say, no, let's go back? Do you know how many millionaires has come up because the Nigerian Stock Exchange has increased in value? It has produced a lot of rich people. So, we cannot now say that it's because people are not interrogating figures. That's why they believe when they say, Nigeria is tough. Yes, I agree that the impact of the subsidy
on
is
the commoners.
Tough. But some people are also taking advantage of that impact and they are making money from it.
How many? How many? Because I think this is the same issue we have, because we don't have people who can actually tell the president the truth about, how Nigerians are suffering. Not all Nigerians are suffering, agreed. But then, how do we convince him?
We should also tell the president, if you have another alternative to the policies he has promulgated, we cannot continue to borrow money to fund our budget.
According to the president, the policies might not produce tangible results
now. To even fund consumption, we cannot continue to borrow money to pay salaries. If we continue to do that, the economy will collapse totally. In fact, if you had not removed subsidy, as at the time 27 states were owing salaries in 2023, what that means is that the figure will double. What that means is that the impact, you will now have money.
So are you saying APC is in the wrong with certain policies? The
policy of removing subsidy, the policy of removing subsidy on dollar, those two policies are destroying floating of naira. Those two policies will destroy Nigerian economy. We cannot sustain it. We cannot continue to borrow money to live a fake life.
So those policies are wrong and should not have
those policies are the policies of subsidy, the policies of pegging dollar. They are killing Nigerian economy. The economy will just die. I have an experience one day when somebody wanted to travel and the person has influence in CBN. So somebody helped her to get a dollar. She was entitled to 2,000 BTA. So she now told her husband that it's only $1,000 I have money to, it's only 1,000 pounds I have money to buy. And the husband said, you should have told me. Shebi would have gone to our cooperative to obtain loan. And we will buy these pounds and we will use it to, we will buy the 2,000. Go to the black market, sell the 1,000 that we don't need. Then we will get money. That was the practice before President Tinubu said, no, this cannot continue. People will just go. And it's not everybody. It's only people who have influence. They will take subsidized dollar, take it to the black market and sell. Nobody runs a successful economy like that.
It's a tough situation in the country, and then according to the president, we need to just conclude this segment, but according to the president, he said these policies might not produce tangible result now, but later. But my question now is, when is that later? But it's a fine place to leave the discussion this morning. Thank you so much. I want to believe that after the elections, we get to talk more about all of these things. Thank you so much, Olukole Drodolu, for joining us this morning on the segment. All right. We take a short break, and when we come back, we conclude the program. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
The annual international convention is happening in this 2026. The Cathedral of Tabernacle of Faith Triumph Ministry International is inviting you to be part of this annual international convention. Theme: The Wonders of Grace. Romans chapter 5 verse 15. Come and experience the power of God's grace like never before. September 10 to 13th, 2026. All road leads to Faith Triumph Way, Oshogbo, Osun State, featuring God's anointed servant, Bishop Kayode Fanilola, Maryland, USA, Bishop Julius Abiola, New York, Bishop Mark Jones Emmanuel, Washington, D.C., Bishop Israel Adeajala, Denver, United States, Bishop Moses Shegunlano, Maryland, United States, Bishop David Bakari, Kaduna PFN Secretary, Bishop Abiola Idu, CRPA, Florida, USA. Song ministration by Pastor Femi Adegoke and Mike Abdul. Thursday, 10th September, welcome service from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Friday, 11th September, first service from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Second service, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday, 12th September, first service, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. And second service, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And Sunday, the grand finale is the special Thanksgiving of the Bishopric of Our Lordship, Bishop Temitayo Felix Owolabi, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Host, Your Lordship, Bishop Felix and Bishop Temitayo Owolabi. Faith Triumph Ministries International 2026 Annual Convention. Your life will never be the same.
I think there's a program in the has been in the country, especially for Nigerians, the Nigerian populace, Nigerian citizens at large, which is something we should really kick against. There's a programming that everybody's just supposed to act based on what these our politicians give us, and sometimes we can say no to some of these reactions. We can voice our opinion, which is why we have the freedom of speech and all that. But I'm also saying that come 2027, let intelligence take the full course. Like, let intelligence be put on the table. Don't just vote because you want to vote for somebody who comes from your place, or because you are emotional to what their stance is or their position is. Objectively look at who you want to vote for, and I think it's a fine conversation. You hear me?
Exactly, and I think it's a fine place to leave it this morning. I mean, we've been saying this for days or weeks now, especially after the Osun State election, that your vote is your power. Never assume that when you stay at home, you already know who's going to win. Don't do that. Your vote is your power. It doesn't matter. Encourage other people to come out to vote. And then one more thing is the fact that what happened in 2022, 2023, where friends fell out, where husband and wife fought each other for months because they were not supporting the same candidate. Let's not repeat that this time around. I mean, you have every right to support your own candidate, and then let's stop dragging celebrities online because they are supporting a particular candidate. Yes, they have a right to support a candidate. You might not be okay with that candidate, but then let's not push people to the pressure or something like that. I remember a popular candidate last time was on a particular interview recently, and she said it was because people dragged a particular celebrity. That's Jokel Silva. That's the reason why she voted for that person. I mean, allow people. It's the same country. Let's be civil, please. You can choose whoever you want to vote for, but then let's just ensure that you are doing the right thing. I think that's when that one is also very important.
It's a good place to draw the content on the conversation today. It's been a wonderful one. Of course, again, on Monday, we'll be here to give you all the happenings across the country, Nigeria. And my name is Anulu Akwedo, saying bye for now.
And I'm Oluwayemi Adelakun. I'll see you on Monday.